Welcome to Amazing Mazes Part 3, and before we begin building I just wanted to talk about something. Everybody dreams of doing things. Probably everybody lays on their bed and dreams about different things that they want to do in their lives. You might dream about travelling to a foreign country, or maybe you dream about really doing something in professional sports. You might even dream of becoming a famous artist, or maybe even setting up your own business. By now you've probably already got dreams and things that you would like to do in your life. One of the things that I've always wanted to do is build computer games, as you might guess. So it's important in life that you have dreams, because otherwise you'll never have anything to aim for or move towards. But there's an important thing that we need to think about when we've got dreams. The most crucial thing about it is you have to do something about your dream, because if you don't put any action on it, a dream is all it's ever going to be. So if you're here watching part 3 of Amazing Mazes, I just want to say congratulations to you. Obviously you're the kind of person who doesn't want to just spend your life dreaming about computer games. You're the kind of person who wants to get up and give it a go. So welcome back, and we're just going to start building. Okay, so double click on Game Maker and then you can open it up and you should be in here. Click that off, hide your tutorial, and then all you need to do is load your game. So click on this one here to load your game, go into My Documents and then click on your Bear in the Maze game which you made last time and click on Open, and you'll find that it's loaded all the bits in which we made last time. Right, so we're going to begin today by adding an aim and a purpose to our game, and that's to collect all the coins in the room. So open up your Obji coin, and I've changed this time because last time I realised my camera cut the tab side off, so I was merrily talking all about the tabs and you couldn't see them. So I've changed it now, so you should be able to see the different tabs that I'm clicking on to get to the different actions. So what we're going to start off by doing is we're going to click on the score tab here, and then we're going to come up here to the bit that says set score. So just pull it over so it's in between there, put in 10, and then we need to go down here to this box and make sure there's a tick in here that says relative, because relative is the bit that makes the score add up. If relative isn't ticked, when your bear bumps into a coin, what will happen is it will just say 10 all the time, even if he's collected 5 or 6 coins. So just make sure you've got a tick in there and the score will add up. So we're going to play a sound, set the score to 10 and then destroy the coin. Okay, so let's just have a quick test of our game. Have a look in here and see whether we've got it working. Okay, right. Let's just move our bear around and make sure the score's functioning. Yep, and that's looking pretty good. So if you look up here you can see my score is increasing, and that's just what I want it to do. Okay, so press escape and we'll go back to our work area. Right, now let's just open our room up again, which we were just looking. So press play. Okay, here we go. Now the score's being drawn up here on this grey bit, but we don't really want it to do that because though you can see it, it doesn't look that great. And if you put it on full screen mode, this grey bar up here will just disappear completely. So we want to draw the score in the room. So we're just going to create the part that does that. So let's just open our room up again. Now I could create an object that just draws the score on top of this wall up here, but that makes it really hard to read the score because our sprite here is made up of different triangles. Now it's good to have challenges in your game, but you don't want your player the challenge to be your player not being able to read the score properly. That's just bad game design, isn't it? So we want to make that bit nice and easy. So one of the things we could do to fix this problem is just take these walls out. Here we go, let's just remove some of them like that. And then you see what we can do is we can just draw the score in this gap here. But there's a little problem that you can have if you draw the score there. When we create our ghost object later on, what can happen is the ghost can just come up here and then disappear through this gap and then just vanish out of the room, and your player won't be able to see it. And players can do this as well. They can move their bear up here and move the bear out of the gap, and then they lose control of the bear and they can't get the bear back. So we don't want that to happen. We need to find some way of creating a wall up here, but a wall that you can't see. So that's what we're going to make next. Okay, so just click on this one called Create Sprite, and we're going to create a little sprite in here. Click on Edit Sprite, and then go up here where it says Create a New Sprite, this piece of paper icon here, and click OK. Now click on this pencil to edit your sprite. If you go in here, click your red colour, and then get this symbol of the bucket down here called Fill an Area. Click on that, click in the space, and we've now created a little red square, and that's just what we want. Okay, so we're going to name this one SPR underscore invis underscore wall. So it's our invisible wall. Okay, now remember, if we want to use it in a game, we've got to make an object to put it inside. So we're going to call this one obj invis wall. Here we go, underscore wall. There we go. Right, let's give it the red sprite. Okay, now to turn it into a wall, we want to make it solid, so tick that one. And then what we're going to do is make its parent the obj wall, the grey one which we made earlier. And that's going to save us a lot of time, because what it will do is it will tell all the other objects in the game this wall is the same as the grey wall, and it means we don't have to tell every other object in the game about this. It will just automatically do it. So we'll talk about parents and how parents and children work later on, but that's basically what that does. So it means that our invisible wall will be exactly the same as our grey wall. There's one more thing we need to do. We need to make it invisible. So if we come down to this bit here, you can see where it says visible. Just click on that to get rid of the tick, and then we won't be able to see it. Now you might be thinking, well, why did we give it a sprite if it's invisible? Well, the reason we've done that is so that we as game builders can see where we're going to make it easier for us to see where it goes in the room. But because we've made it invisible, the player won't be able to see it. So let's put 8 of these up here, like that, and we're just going to put our invisible wall up there. Okay, and then the ghosts and the bear won't be able to escape through that gap. Okay, so now what we need to do is actually create the part that actually draws the score. So let's make a new object, and we're going to call this one obj underscore rm underscore controller, obj room controller, and it's going to handle lots of things that we need done in the room. It doesn't need a sprite because it's just going to work away in the background doing jobs for us. So let's click and add a new event. Because we're going to be drawing things, we need a draw event. So if you've had problems in the past when you've been using Game Maker and you haven't been able to draw things properly, it might be because you haven't put your actions inside a draw event, because that's where they have to go if you want them to work. So let's click on draw down on the tabs here, and we're going to go over to this one that looks like an artist's palette. It's called set the colour. Go on this menu, click a colour you want your score to be drawn in. I'm picking yellow. You see it puts the yellow colour in there. Okay, next I'm going to choose a font to draw my score in. But first of all I need to make the resource of a font before I can put it into the action. So let's go and do that. Click on this TT icon up here. We're going to create a font. Okay, over here we're just going to call this font underscore score. So this is our score font. Okay, and then you can choose a font that you want to use. When I made the Bear game the first time, I made it on a different computer, so I had to choose a different font when I was making it on here, so it will look a little bit different. I'm going to use Lucidia Console here. set the size to 14, and I'm going to set it to bold. Okay, oh, it's over there. Okay, right, so our resource is now inside Game Maker, so now we can use it inside an action. Let's come down here to this one called Set the Font, drag it over, go on this menu, and there's our font score ready to use. Click on that one, and we've got it on Font Score. Okay, now we just need it to draw the score, so go into your Score tab, on this one here that says Draw Score, pull it over, and this bit here where it says Y, we're going to set that to 5. And that just means it's drawn slightly down a little bit. Make it easier to see. So there we go. It's going to draw that in there. Okay. Right, so let's open our room up. We just need to put our object room controller into our room. Now here's something useful. If you're creating an object and it's got no sprite, and you've got several different ones and they all have no sprite, sometimes it's pretty tricky to remember which ones they are and whether they're in the right place. But if you look down here in this gap, when I move my mouse over different objects, the name will appear in that gap. So if you've forgotten which kind of object it is, you can just move your mouse over it and it will tell you there at the bottom. Make it much easier for you to check that you've got the right one in. Okay, so let's test it now. Okay, here we go, and there's the score drawn up there really nicely, and as I collect the coins you can see that that's working perfectly. You can see the score still being drawn up here on the grey panel on the top, but we don't need to worry about that because we're going to remove that in a few more episodes. Right, press escape and come back into here. So that's working really well. Let's save our game. Okay, so here we are. Let's think about what we need to build next. Right, let's make another room because we're going to need this to test. So right click on here, click on duplicate, and we've made another room which looks exactly the same as the first. But just for our testing purposes, what we're going to do is give it a different coloured background. Let's go into the Backgrounds tab, click on Colour, click on this purple colour here. Okay, later on when we make the game properly, we're going to make all the rooms different, but this is just to help us test this mechanism which we're going to make. So the first room is blue and the second room is purple. Okay, now the aim of our game is to collect all the coins in the room before you can move to the next level. So that's what we're going to make next. So open up your room controller and click on a step event. Step events are events which happen all the time. They happen continuously rather than just happening at the beginning of the game. So we need one of those because we need to test all the time. So if we go down into your Controls tab and open it up, then we're going to go down to this one called Test Variable. Pull that over. Now we're going to check which room the player is in, which room they've reached. So where it says variable, just type in the word room, and then underneath where it says value, we're going to type in room, here we go, underscore last. And that's just a property which is built into Game Maker, so we can use it for that. Okay, next we're going to go over to this thing called Start Block, pull it over, this one called Exit Event, pull it over, and then this one here, which is called End Block, and pull it over. And if this is the last room, we're going to stop any more events. It's just going to stop it. Okay, but what if this isn't the last room? We'll pull the word else over here, and then we're going to test for something else. Let's go up here to this one and pull it over. This is called Test Instance Count, and we're going to check how many coins are left in the room. Okay, so you can see it's an object with 1, 2, 3 under it, so we're going to test how many coin objects are left. Go down here and click on Object Coin, and we're going to say if Object Coin is equal to 0, so if there's no more coins in the room, then move to the next level. Okay, so now we set that up, click on OK, right, pull over a start block again. Now what we're going to add next is a sound effect. So we're going to make a new sound effect. Go up here to this one called Create Sound and click on it. Into here, we're going to call this one SND underscore clap. Then we're going to load sounds, click on My Documents, and then go into that sounds folder which we created in episode 1. You go up here to this one called Applause, click on that, open. And you can hear all the hands clapping. Okay, so now we've got it loaded in, let's put it into an action. So go on Main tab 1, Play Sound, click on here and put in an SND clap. So the player gets a little round of applause when they've collected all the coins in the room. If you go Main tab 2, click on this one which has got these Z symbols on it. We're going to make it sleep, we're going to make it pause just for 1000 milliseconds, that's about 1 second. So the player, when they've completed a level, they get their little sound effect and then they get a little pause to realise what they've done. Go into Main 1, and inside Game Maker, if you see actions which are inside these octagon symbols, usually means they're testing for something rather than just setting something. So we're going to use this one here that's called Check Next, because we're going to check if there's another room for us to go to. So just pull it over, check if the next room exists, then go up to this one called Next Room and pull this one over, and we're going to give it a fancy effect. So go into here and click on Create from Center. Okay, then go back into Control tab, click on End Block and put it in there. What start and end blocks do is they act like brackets. So if something's true, like this bit's here is true, it means then do the actions which are inside the brackets. So that's what start block and end blocks are for. So basically, play the sound, have a little pause, if there's another room, go to the next room. But if we just had that piece in there, what would happen is it would keep checking for another room again and again and again and again, and it would never stop. So that's why we've put this bit in here. So if you've reached the last room, we want it to stop. We don't want it to go on playing the sound effect or anything else, so that's why we've put this bit in here. And sometimes if we forget to put things in like that, what happens is Game Maker goes into a loop and it'll go on playing and playing and playing, and it won't respond to the keys. So if for any reason sometime in the future you accidentally create a loop, all you have to do is press Control, Alt and Del key and it will stop Game Maker running. I mean, it's true that you might lose a bit of your work, but it will stop Game Maker going crazy. So let's just click on OK. We don't need to worry about loops here because we've put that mechanism in at the top. Actually don't. Let's add another event. Key press letters N. And then we're going to go into Main tab 1, go to Next Room. Okay, we don't need a fancy effect for this one. What this does is it helps us to test, as the game's designers, helps us to test the different levels. Imagine if you made 14 levels and you had a problem in level 14 you wanted to check. If we didn't have this in here, you'd have to play every single level all the way up to 14 just to check that little thing. But this one here, it will just change the rooms every time you press N, so you can quickly reach your level 14 and make sure it's working properly. Let's add another one. Add event, key press, letter P. And with this one we're going to be able to check the previous room. Go on this one, previous room. Okay, no effect. And that way we can move up and down the levels, easily checking them. And later on, if you don't want your players to use these as cheat keys, you could take them out. But they're just very useful for us as designers. And that's an important thing we have to learn when we're doing game design. So let's just push play up here and we'll... Okay, so let's just move the bear around and check that we're able to change rooms once we've collected the coins. And there we go, and that's worked perfectly. So let's just check in here, collect all the coins in here, and nothing happens, and that's exactly what we wanted to do because that's the last room in the game. So that's working just as it should do. Next time on Amazing Mazes, we make a front room for our Bear in the Maze game. See you there!